Hello, and thank you for joining me. This is going to be a quick walkthrough of the Behavior Live conference platform. First, we're going to start with the call for papers and configuring all your paper types, and from there we'll go through the flow of setting up your entire conference. So once papers have been submitted, we can approve those papers, we can convert them to scheduled events and schedule them on our drag and drop scheduler, add sponsor stores, manage CEUs and registrants, as well as configure the mobile app. So let's go ahead and dig in and get started. So when you first log into your account, you'll be presented with your dashboard, and the dashboard will show all the conferences that you have. This is our test account, and you can see we have PaperCon 2025 coming up. So I'm going to click that in the list, and it's going to take me to the overview for PaperCon. On the left-hand side here, we have lots of configuration options. So I'll go through these quickly, and then we'll dive into each one in more detail. The registrants tab is where you manage all your registrants for the conference. You can see your total revenue, you can see the number of online versus in-person registrants, you can transfer registrations, and just an overall snapshot of where your conference currently stands. The events tab is where all your current scheduled events are, what room they're in. This is how you can edit the events and make changes accordingly. Rooms, these are all the rooms that would be at your venue where the breakout sessions and the plenary sessions would be scheduled. The scheduler is a drag and drop scheduler that you can use to lay out your program once you have all your call for papers submitted and approved. The sponsorship is where you can set up a sponsorship storefront, and that includes an exhibit floor plan picker, products, and once your exhibitors create their portals, they will be able to upload assets, claim complimentary vouchers, booth passes, and all that will be accessible here. So we'll dive into that in more detail in a few minutes as well. Packages is where you manage all the registration options, whether or not you want packages with CEUs, etc. Then we have the CEUs tab, which is where you print your QR codes and you go through the wizard of people who have successfully scanned in and out of each event. Website is where you configure the landing page for your entire conference. So you can see a demo of that here for Dunder Mifflin. So this is the conference landing page, and we have all these sub-tabs up here. Again, we'll dive into that in a few minutes as well. So this is the abstract management call for papers area. I'm going to start here today. And basically when you start with a clean system, the paper types tab here will have nothing. And you can go ahead and add the default ABA paper types, or you can add your own. And you can see here we have a list of paper types. We have symposiums, panels, workshops, general paper, multi-paper session, invited speakers, and posters. So these are just the paper types that I've created in my system. You can always add your own, you can delete them, reconfigure, and there are a bunch of built-in ones as well. So for each paper type, you just need to go in and choose the fields that you want to ask for. So here's the fields that are available in the system, and you can choose for that paper type what data you want to ask for, including the duration. And then down here, you can pick all the required fields. Now, the cool thing is anybody who can submit a paper, every page throughout the wizard, they submit, and it saves it as a draft. So they can go in after the fact and review their draft and then publish that draft or submit that draft. And at the very end of the submission process, it asks them to fill out all the required fields before they can totally submit it. And we capture things like biographies and headshots and CVs and anything you could possibly think of. We also have the ability to do custom fields, so we can set that up for you as well. Each screen on the call for papers has different instructions that you can put on. So depending on the screen they're on, if they're on the CEU screen or the general screen or the people screen, all of those different screens can have instructions and what your criteria and what you're looking for those particular screens. So once you've set up all your paper types, people can then start submitting those papers. So if we go to the preview page here, you can see what the call for papers looks like. An end user comes in, they click symposium, panel, workshop. So I'm just going to click a general paper here. Click continue. It asks them to log in or create an account. And then from there, it starts asking their basic information. Paper title, content area, abstract, all the things that you said were required for those paper types that this user selected. Going to keep clicking through. Now the cool thing is a lot of people submit papers on behalf of somebody else. So, somebody an office assistant could submit a paper on behalf of somebody. So there's two different options when you're adding people to a talk. You can add yourself as the presenter, or you can add someone else. So if you add someone else, if they already exist in the system, you can click link and invite them over and can finish their profile. From there, it will link them to the talk. I'm just going to go ahead and click on through. And then from here at the end, you can see it runs validation and it tells you what's required. Now, if the user doesn't have these fields at hand, if they don't have a headshot and the headshot's required, they can always just come down here, save it as a draft, and it will show up in their account and they can reference that draft whenever they want. Once a paper's been submitted, it will then show on the submissions tab. You can click a paper to go into it, and you get lots of information. You get the paper information, you get all the fields that they filled out, you can view the biography of the presenter. This is the CEU information, the learning objectives, CEU instructor, basically all the information. And then you have some tabs up here. You have the activity, which is basically everything that's ever happened to this paper. Abstracts, so if this is a single paper or a symposium, it would show all of the abstracts here. We have a notes tab, which is an area for you to make internal comments amongst your team about a paper. So these are not public facing, the end users don't see them. You can come in here and click add a note, and you can @mention people as well. So I can @mention Mallory here, and she will get a notification, and you can see it adds this comment to the paper. And again, the end user doesn't see this. This is just the review team. And then we have the email section here as well. So I can email people from the call for papers. So if I click new email, I can email the people who are part of this paper or anybody. You can see it gives me the option to choose who is part of this paper. We can send that email. Now the cool thing is whenever anybody replies to that email, it will come right back into the system. So this is great if you have a big team who's managing the paper process. It shows you all the correspondence that you have with a speaker about a particular paper, so you can come in and everybody's on the same page. Finally, we have the review tab. In the review tab, you can set up criteria for each paper type, and you can see the two options here. This content is paper related and the presenter is qualified. Those are the two criteria. And then we have a Likert scale rating where you can rate the paper. You can have as many people rate the paper as you want, and it will aggregate the score. And then on the overview page, we'll go back here on the overview page, you can sort by average score. So let's say you only have the ability to accept 30 papers. You could, after all the reviews are in, you can sort them by average score and then pick the top 30. One other thing I want to mention, actually we're going to go back here, we're going to click review team, so you can pick people who want to be part of your review team, and you can see the status of those reviews if they've done their homework, so to speak. And then when you're in a particular paper, you can also assign those reviewers here. So you can assign those reviewers. And the cool thing is they will get a notification and they will get their own review portal where they can log in and they can review those papers. And we actually are adding the ability to do a blind review shortly as well. So that's the basics of the call for papers. Once a paper has been submitted, you then have the option to accept it or reject it. And you can define some pre-canned email templates that fire when you click these buttons. But for this demo, we're going to go ahead and say that we accepted this. I'm going to go ahead and look at another one here. So you can see this one was one that I accepted before. Once it's accepted, it's now ready to be converted to an actual event that you can schedule for your conference. So I'm going to go ahead and click convert. And we just have a few pieces of information that it needs. It needs to know, what the title that you want it to be. Sometimes the titles that are submitted by authors are really, really long. So we can change that to something shorter. We can also change the duration to fit into what the slots we need in our program. And then we choose which day we want it to go. And then we choose which room we want it to go. And from there we click convert and it will pop up on the scheduler. And once you have events on the scheduler, it really is as simple as dragging and dropping and organizing and laying out your program however you see fit. You can change any of these colors that you want. So if you have different colors mean different tracks, you can change the duration. So if we wanted to make this a 50-minute talk, we can do that. And you can see it allows us to adjust everything and drag and drop the scheduler. Now the scheduler is already automatically set for the days of your conference, so you can see all the different days of your conference and schedule events accordingly. If you wanted to move this to a different day, we just change the day to Thursday, update it, and now if we jump over to Thursday, we can see that it's there. So drag and drop scheduler, super nice. This scheduler can also be exposed to your attendees as well, so they can see a view of the schedule. So once the events have been scheduled, they will show on your events list here, and this is where you can come in and add all the nitty-gritty details that you want. So I'm going to go in and look at this workshop, and from here we can set all the details. The title, whether or not it's streamed, who's the lead instructor, the event date, pricing, availability, is it part of the registration package or can they buy it a la carte, and then whether or not it's published, and then we have the CEU options as well. You can also tie it to packages, change the room, the abstract, and then lots of different marketing images can be uploaded for each talk as well. All right, and in order to schedule, I will say, in order to schedule an event in a room, you do need to set up your room. So you can come in here and you can set up the different rooms that your venue has, and there's a lot of metadata you can set up as well too. So you can choose all this data so that when you want to come in and look at a glance, you can see your room capacities for different seating arrangements, if there's a room number or a floor name to help people get to that room, that can all be edited and viewed at this level. And then once a room is created, it's available to be scheduled. All right, the next thing that you'll probably want to do is check out registration packages. So registration packages are the different options that you have for registration, and there's lots of options when you're creating these packages. So you can create a package, you choose the price, whether or not you have member-only pricing, if CEUs are extra. You can group them by different categories, which creates different tabs on the registration page. You can add requirements like they must have an EDU email address if they're to make sure they're students, if this is a student package, whether or not this package is only for group registrations. And then we also have the ability to include add-ons to this registration. So you can have workshop add-ons, and then you can also have other add-ons, things like lunches or t-shirts, and they can opt into those during the registration process. So you can see these are the events that they'll get registered for automatically when they purchase this package. And these are event add-ons, we call them, which are usually used as workshops. So if somebody wants to buy a pre-conference workshop, they would have the option. These are the workshops that would be available for them to choose during the registration process. This is where you define the add-ons, and this is where you define the promo codes. So any sort of discount codes you want, when you create a discount code, you can choose which packages those codes apply to, the number of uses, the discount percentage, and distribute those accordingly. All right. Once you have the packages, basically registration will start, will be available if you set it up on the website. So we're going to come over to the website next, and we're going to look at that. So this is your website builder. And basically you just go in and you add each type of page that you want. So we have a bunch of pages in here. We'll go in and we'll modify the registration page here so you can see it. So we have some built-in modules that you can drag and drop. So if you want to show a package listing with registration, you can drag that from the left. If you wanted to just do a text box, you could drag that. We can go ahead and save that. And then when we go preview the conference website, you can see we have all these different tabs that are pre-built and set up just the way you need. So here's the registration page. I've already registered to this for this conference, but you can see all the events, speakers, on-demand listings, call for papers, call for sponsors, posters, and exhibits. So this is the website, super configurable. We can change the banner and the logo and how the pages are rendered. There's lots of different options for the website builder, and the Behavior Live team is here to help, or we can even set it up and configure it all for you. All right, the next thing I want to talk about is the sponsorships area. So basically, this will create a storefront for you. So you can set up as many sponsorship products as you want. So these are all your different sponsorship opportunities when you create a product. Sorry, these are all your sponsorship opportunities. When you create a product, you can choose all the details about that product, splash image, how many are available, any add-ons that you want them to be able to choose, as well as artwork requirements and voucher requirements. Now, this is really cool. So artwork requirements, let's say you're requiring them to, print that you have some signage at the venue that this particular sponsor opportunity is for. So you can get those dimensions, and you can put those dimensions as artwork requirements. And then when they make their purchase, they'll get access to their sponsor portal. And from their sponsor portal, it will show them all the required assets that they have to upload and the deadlines to upload those assets. So you can see if I click new artwork requirements, I can choose what asset I need and what the deadline is, and they'll get notifications and reminders. And then once they've been uploaded, you as the conference organizer can get all of those assets from one centralized location. Vouchers work very similarly, so you can create vouchers. Let's say this particular sponsorship product comes with 2 free complimentary registrations. You can set those up, call them whatever you want. You would choose complimentary registration, the number that they get with the purchase, and then they will go into the ability for them to claim those registrations in their sponsor portal. So they go to their sponsor portal, they claim those registrations, and then you can process those vouchers here on the Vouchers tab. Here's the assets. You can see every asset that your sponsors have uploaded, all show in one list. You can just download those assets and look at them right here. Super convenient and easy. This shows you all your orders that have come in. You can see the total number of orders, total number of revenue, how many unpaid invoices if you're allowing purchase order for sponsorships. So they all show. And one thing I do want to show you is the storefront for sponsors. So this is what the sports storefront looks like. You can see all the different products that we're offering here. If you click view details for one of the exhibits, exhibitors can actually pick their location on a floor plan map. So let's say they want, this particular exhibitor wanted booth number 4 and 5. They can choose that, and when they check out, it will assign those booths to them, much like a concert venue, which is really nice. Again, see, you can use check or purchase order, or you can, looks like this particular organization is locked down to just check or purchase order, but you can also set it up to use credit cards as well. All right, so that is the sponsor store. Lots of different options there. Jumping over to CEUs, this is where you would set up all your QR codes for all your events. Any events that are getting CEUs, you can generate QR codes for that room or the entire conference, and it will generate a PDF of QR codes that you can use to scan for people to scan in and out of sessions. All right. The next thing that I want to show you is the mobile app. So once you have your conference set up and the registration's open and people start registering, they'll start getting access to the mobile app. And we'll go ahead and show you what that looks like. So this is the mobile app. And you can see when you first log in, it just shows you all the events you have in Behavior Live as a whole. So this is just like the landing page when you first log in. But if they click the hamburger menu here, it's going to show them all the events, all the conferences that they have coming up. So we would find your conference in the list, they would click it, and they have lots of different options here. So I'm actually going to jump over, well, we'll start here. So starting off, they can see all the presenters. They click the presenters, and it shows them the presenter and their bio. They can view the schedule of events. They can also favorite events. So if I click this, I can add this as a favorite event, and then it shows up on my favorites list here. So they have a list of all their favorites. We have sponsors and exhibitors, so there's only one or two here. Let me jump over to a conference. Like, we'll go to CASP. They have a bunch of exhibitors. So you can see if we click sponsors here, it shows all the sponsors that have been set up in the system, and then they can create their own landing pages in their sponsor portal. So you see these landing pages here, and they can have a website that takes people to their website. So lots of options there. On the exhibits, which looks similar to sponsors, these are people who actually have booths. Exhibitors can scan attendee badges to get contact information, and if you wanted to gamify that or incentivize attendees to go to exhibits to scan, you can do that, and attendees get feedback. So any exhibits that an attendee has scanned will turn green. So you can see this particular attendee has gotten scanned at ABA Matrix. So you can incentivize your attendees to get all green boxes here, and that will have a raffle or whatever you want to give to them. Clicking in some more of these sponsors to see the different options for landing pages. And again, these can all be set up in sponsor portals. All right, we have maps. So this shows you the different floor plans of the conference. You can have as many different map tiles. All the tiles that you were just seeing on that page are customizable. So you can add as many tiles as you want. You could have a map, or lots of different tiles for different maps, or you can have one tile for all your maps, like CASP did here. So you can see all the different floors. You can find, pan and zoom. Now this is a great feature. So this is a list of all the attendees. And it's just their names at this point. You can then connect with people. So I can click add, and it will send an invite to those particular attendees. And those attendees can either accept the invite or decline the invite. If they accept the invite, then your contact information is shared, and they can chat with each other within the app. And they can also create group chats within the app. So it's a really nice way to build a community. People can start connecting with attendees before the conference even starts, build those connections, and message them accordingly. I'm going to jump back over to PaperCon over here where I have some connections in chat. So you can see here, if I click my connections, these are all people that I've connected with. The request tab shows you any incoming requests, and sent shows you any connections that you have attempted to send. So again, if I come to the attendees tab here and I try to add Kevin, he's going to get an invite. If I go to the connections tab, you can see he shows up on the sent tab now. The other thing is you can actually scan attendee badges. So this doesn't work on a simulator. It's not showing a camera, but on a real device, it will allow you to scan an attendee's badge. And when you scan their badge, it will automatically send them a connection request as well. Just so if you're talking to somebody at the conference, you can quickly and easily just scan their badge to initiate the request instead of having to look them up. And then we have the messages tab here. So this is where all the messages are. You can see you can chat with somebody here. And it's just a real-time chat. Super easy to use. That's single one-on-one chat, or you can add group chats here. So if I wanted to create a new group chat with several people, I could do that. So there you go. That's the chat feature. All right, going back to the home page. We have several other different widgets that you can add. This is just a generic web view, so you can add any sort of web rendered content. And the cool thing is, if this is a web page that we custom design on Behavior Live, it passes in the auth token, so we can show user-specific data in this web view without redeploying the app. So this gives us a lot of flexibility to create even more customizable experiences for attendees. But again, you can link this to any sort of web page that you want. And then we have tools. So there's two different options for tools. We have CEU tools, which is for your volunteers and your internal team to help scan and help people check in and out of events. So if somebody's having trouble scanning, they can do that. You can pick the room you want to scan them in, pick the event, and choose your attendees. Pick Kevin Malone here, and I'm just checked him into the event. And then exhibitors. Any exhibitors can set up scan admins in their portal, and from here they can scan They can scan attendees when they come to their booth, and those attendees will show here in their attendee list. From once they've scanned somebody, they can look at their contact information, and they can also add notes. So I just save those notes, and then I can export those later in my sponsor portal, which I'll come back and show you in just a few minutes. Okay, one other thing, jumping over to CASP here, we also have the ability to show PDFs. So if we look at their agenda, they've uploaded a nice PDF here, and that PDF also has links here that can open to another website as well. So any links embedded in the PDF work as well. So you can make this your conference program, your agenda, or whatever you need to do. On the main navigation here, we also have the ability for presenter tools, and this is really cool. One of the biggest pieces of feedback we got during COVID when we were doing just 100% virtual events is people really liked the sort of discussion that was allowed during an event. When you're sitting next to somebody in a ballroom, really you can only talk to the person sitting next to you, if that. Using the Behavior Live platform, though, anybody in the audience, both in person and online, can log into those events and chat and have discussions and ask questions to the presenter. And this is the presenters tools area. So presenters can actually log into the event too from the podium if they want. Lots of presenters do. And they can participate in the chat. They can view any questions that have been asked. They can create their polls and turn their polls on. CEUs aren't applicable for when presenters are in the room. But just a nice little tool for presenters to access both the online audience and a way for them to interact with people in the room as well. So lots of presenters use it, and they really seem to like it. All right. We have CEU history, which shows you all the CEU scans that you've made, and then as well as your full history, all the CEUs that you've ever earned through the platform. Of course, they can view their account and edit their profile, make any changes that they want. Okay, so that is a quick overview of the mobile app. Hopefully that makes sense. I'm going to jump over real quick too, because we've been talking about it, and show you what one of the sponsor portals looks like. So we're going to go in here to Vance Refrigeration. You can see Vance bought the CEU mobile app for $50,000. So we're going to go in there. We're going to click View Portal. And he has Vance Refrigeration, or any of your sponsors have almost exactly looking portal to the way that your portal looks. So it's pretty intuitive and easy to navigate. They can find all the conferences listed. They go into your conference, and you can see it shows them lots of details on an overview. It shows them how many days are left until the conference, how many attendees are currently registered, and how many tasks they have remaining. It lists out all the deadlines. Again, here's their incomplete tasks. They have information, so this is venue-related information, setup, check-in, check-out, how to get electricity for their booths, all that good stuff. That you can customize all that for the sponsor portals. This is where they define their landing page. So we saw in the mobile app, you can create a landing page, and that's what people can see in the mobile app. So you can come set that up here, upload a logo, tagline, description that will show in the mobile app. You can also use that widget on the conference website, so you can have a page of all your exhibitors and with their landing pages, and people can go in and click on them to get more information. So assets, these are the acquired assets that these particular users have had. So they can go ahead here and just upload their assets, and they will show for you as the conference admin in the assets area that we saw earlier. This is their exhibit information if they had any. This particular user does not. But if they did, they could set up badge scanners, and even sponsors can set up badge scanners to get contact information. So they would just add a user here. So now that particular user has the ability to scan badges and get that data back, as well as reporting. We have reporting data that comes in. So all the badges that have been scanned come in here, and the sponsors can export that data as well. Vouchers and purchases. So vouchers, like I said, is an area to claim vouchers, and purchases, it shows all the purchases that this particular sponsor has made, so they can see everything that they've done. So the system will generate automated reminders to the end users to let them know about deadlines approaching and assets and vouchers and all that good stuff. So they definitely get their hand held throughout the process. We're going to go back to the main admin page here. We're just going to keep clicking back. All right. I'm just going to jump over here because this is somebody who bought an exhibit, just so we can see what that looks like. Trying to link it to, I guess we don't have a Behavior Live organization yet. The cool thing is too, by using Behavior Live, is we have almost 500 sponsors that have used the platform before. They love it. We will market to all those. By being a Behavior Live conference, they're going to be really excited about working with you because of these tools. We make things simple and easy, and they're used to the way the process works. Same with attendees. We have almost 50,000 users in Behavior Live now too, so we can help market your conference, and we can get the word out and hopefully get more registrants to your conference by offering both in person and virtual. Trying to think if there's anything else worth showing here. There's lots of settings. I will say we're very customer service oriented. We will work with you. We'll handhold you the whole way. We can even get the initial build out of your website done. We'll make it look super awesome. And we'll, all along the way, we'll interact with your sponsors. We'll interact with your attendees. We'll handle CEU support, attendee support, registration support. If there's refunds, issues that need to be taken care of, our whole team is here to help in any way we can. We want you to be able to enjoy the conference, and we want to take as much of that load off of you as possible. So that's a quick overview of the Behavior Live Conference Planning Suite. Let me know if you have any further questions. You can email me at chris@behaviorlive.com, and we hope to have you as a customer. Thank you very much.